In teaching personal finance for over 15 years, I've noticed that one topic students are really interested in learning more about is their FICO score. Learning how the FICO score is generated, along with how they can build a good credit score. Hi, my name is Amanda Volz. I am a personal finance teacher at St. Clair High School in St. Clair, Michigan, and I'm here to provide a teacher tip on an awesome activity that teaches exactly that, how to build a credit score and how the FICO score is calculated, which is called Interactive FICO Credit Scores. Under the Managing Credit unit on the NGPF website, the activity is right here. It's called Interactive FICO Credit Scores. And this activity leads perfectly into this second activity, which is calculate the impact of the credit score on the loan. So these two activities I use back to back. First with the interactive, and then secondly, having them use that information to then calculate how the FICO score impacts their loans. Again, students really enjoy this topic, and I feel that this activity drives home how that FICO score is calculated. And then again, that second activity shows how their FICO score impacts their long-term financing, interest rates, etc. So in this activity, what students do is they're given three different characters. They are given Sam, Jessica, and the last character is Danielle. And what students will use is they will use the MyFICO credit score estimator, which the link is provided right in the activity. And MyFICO creates a calculator or an estimator that you can put a bunch of different variables in, and it will give you what your credit score range would be based on those variables. So to give you a tip, I use Google Classroom and I have Chromebooks in my classroom, but I tend to print this activity out. I give them a link to this FICO estimator on Google Classroom, and then I use the hard copy worksheet. I've just found that it's easier for them to manipulate the estimator online and then have the worksheet to write on instead of opening multiple tabs. But I think you could do it either way. So what students will do is they will first go through and look at the characteristics of that particular character, and they will decide a plus if they think it will improve their credit score, and a minus if they think the activity or the behavior or what's stated would decrease their credit score. So prior to this activity, students have to have a little bit of a background knowledge on FICO credit scores, and then these factors, which is in this pie graph right here, the 5 factors that are used to calculate that score. So they have to know a little bit about that information before they do this activity. So once they know, okay, all these are the 5 factors they look at, they can then look at, all right, Sam has 3 credit cards. Do you think that would increase his credit score or decrease his credit score? And I have them go through and do the pluses and minuses first. And then they open up the estimator and they plug in the information. And honestly, there's not much of a teacher tip here because it directly correlates with the calculator that's on there. So he currently has 3 credit cards. The estimator asks, how many credit cards do you have? I mean, it's very clear if students just go step by step through these different details or behaviors. And what will happen in the end, once they put all of these in, is the estimator will give them, okay, based on these behaviors, this is the range that that person would have for their FICO score. So from memory, I believe Sam ends up in like the 500-600 range in his credit score. And then they'll clear the calculator and they'll go and do Jessica. And Jessica has 1 credit card and she has a student loan. And again, they plus and minus that information, what they believe. And as a teacher, I don't know that I grade it, but if they're wrong, that's not necessarily, it's kind of their own opinion as far as their knowledge level at that point. And then they're able to see and put this information in, and Jessica will end up with a little bit higher credit score than Sam. And then at the very bottom, they get to Danielle, and she has no credit cards. And I've noticed that students, this trips them up a little bit, where they're like, the FICO estimator doesn't give me any kind of credit score. Well, it's because she has no credit history, and that can start a discussion about building your credit score. So I feel that this is an awesome activity to really show students the behaviors that will then impact their credit score based on what FICO looks at to generate that score. And as I said, at the very bottom of the activity, it will then perfectly merge with this second activity, which is on the managing credit. Under managing credit, it's right here. It's the calculate impact of your credit score on loans, or there is a link to it right at the very bottom of the page. And I will do a separate teacher tip video on this activity, but just to give you a sneak peek, what it does is it takes those same three characters, Sam, Jessica, and Danielle, and it has them buy the exact same car in the exact same house. And based on their FICO score, they pay different interest rates and pay different amounts in interest. So these two activities merge very well together and are excellent ways to show students how the FICO score is built and then how it impacts their financial life.